You guys are already so familiar with Boomerang Tasks, so um, but it's still the thing that I'm choosing to talk about. Boomerang Tasks is one of the things that truly differentiates us. There's a whole lot of, we have tweaks, wonderful, and people can say, oh, well, what's different about this software and that software? Our ability to build an orchestrator within Rue is, and which you have done, is exactly what we wanted when we released Boomerang tasks. We purposely didn't include it as a default mode because we don't want to tell people this is how you have to use Boomerang mode. That being said, we are easing it in, and we're going to be releasing it as a default mode, an orchestrator mode today. But we want to be very cautious to point people at this as the mode. No, this is a mode that works. It works, it's fine, it's good. It doesn't do everything for everybody. We really and there's the out of the box mentality. Well, it's got to work for everybody out of the box. Well, our users are in two silos ultimately. I mean, many silos, but we have the silo of people who are newer or truly don't want to learn how to code, possibly. You could call them the straight vibe coders, and then you have the actual, the engineers, the tinkerers, the coders. Those ones really, really, I think they can handle that. It's a little more complicated, that they can tweak and refine their orchestrator. And I think they can understand that too. So we're trying to find this balance between an out of the box where people can click it and use it, and really that's a preview of what it can do, because what you've made with Spark is a prime example. That is what we want people to do, to create these types of things, because you guys test it and play with it, and I'll be honest, we don't spend all day refining Boomerang tasks. You probably spend all day some days monkeying around with this stuff, refining it, and that puts you far ahead, because we're working on all the different facets of what makes Rue code. So that's my spiel about Boomerang. The other thing I wanted to bring up. Oh, and we are working on Boomerang tasks, or Boomerang orchestration 2.0. Um, and I will surely get some input from you, Ruv.
Yeah, there's
Before as we're working on that, we have a bit of a roadmap, but um, it's still in the works. The other thing I wanted to bring up or outline is the Rue code community. We, as you mentioned, are an open source project, and that's something that really, really excites us at Rue code. We don't we're not trying to take advantage of the community to make tools so we can profit off your backs. Absolutely, the idea of making money is in the picture, um, but not through charging for the things that the community makes. The community is making a tool for the community, and so we're basically orchestrating um, uh, the building of Rue through the community. People often say, well, I want this feature, I want this feature. And I look, and my first thought is defensive. And I'm like, there's already lots of features. Like, you're just making my life. And then I look and I go, no, that's a good damn idea. Like, that's a really good idea. And then the thought is, well, I should bring that to the lead dev. And it's like, well, no, I know what he's doing today and tomorrow and the next week. And this is important, but it doesn't that's when I shift and I go, hey, well, is there anyone in the community that can help with this? And quite often people pull their socks up and actually get it done. It's amazing the number of things that people have made. Even Boomerang Tasks was actually the new task tool was built by a community member. And that's something that we think is really amazing. And we don't want to lose sight of the community and the energy that's around that. And we do our best to appreciate them. Even this morning on Reddit, I was a little prickly to someone yesterday when they were like, well, basically the system task, or the system prompt is too fat, and I was sort of in their face like, well, then change it yourself and test it and let us know what you come up with. And I sent them the footgun mode documentation, and that was rude of me. And so one of the things that we're willing to, or I'm willing to do especially, is go, yeah, no, you know what? That's not the kind of community we want. We don't want a know-it-all community. And I own it, and we try to improve. So we want to be a community that looks at our mistakes in how we act, but and how we develop too, and improve continuously. Continuous development. Oh, that was a good idea. We rolled it out. It did work. It didn't work. And that doesn't mean we want to turn everybody into beta testers, but if we do roll something out and it isn't the best rollout, we are willing to um, take input, and anybody can contact me anytime. So I think, I guess what I want to say is the Rue community is amazing, and I am eternally grateful for them. And it's very exciting to work on this project.
If it makes you feel any better, I get that a lot as well. Like, why didn't you, I put out millions of lines of code and someone's like, why did you do this way? Or why didn't you do that? It's like, you can't you can't make everyone happy, right? And especially when it's like a benevolent approach where you're giving your stuff away. So, the fact that you're putting it out there is in my opinion, is amazing. You're where everyone else is trying to create billion-dollar startups, you're taking the opposite road. And I think I'm also cognizant of the fact that it's a fork of someone else's work in the first place, right? We have to give props to the team at Klein who
Awesome.
inspired all of us. So,
Yeah,
shout out to Klein to make this a thing in the first place. And all the
totally.
various, versions of Klein that have now popped up. So,
Yeah, they've
yeah.
really done an awesome job.
Yeah, exactly.
You
So
know that it was actually born on in a hackathon, eh?
yeah, I think we started using Klein last summer, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's
We're
about the time.
we're early adopters around here. If
Yeah,
something new and exciting comes out, I think it somehow shows up in our AI Hackerspace weekly calls, and some
yeah,
things we adopt more broadly, and other things kind of disappear. But Klein and Rue and Windsurf and a few others have sort of stuck around, so that's a good sign.
yeah.
And
Uh,
how does you actually, just to give you a little kudos, I understand the handle Boomerang uh, was yours.
It and I don't know how long it will last. It's a description. It's sort of a catchy thing, but
Yeah,
it doesn't fully say what it does. And I was pushing for naming the mode Boomerang, but when somebody picks it up, what is Boomerang?
right.
So
I like
the
it.
team at Rue is coming up with a better solution than calling
Oh
it
no, no,
Boomerang.
don't call it Boomerang. It's great. It's perfect. It's the basis of a feedback loop. So when you look at agentic systems, what makes a really good agentic system? It's orchestration is obviously important, and the idea of tasks and subtasks are important, but ultimately it's a feedback loop. That the feedback loop that you find within the structure of a sort of test-driven development is actually what makes autonomous development work. It's not the model. Like, you could use pretty much any model as long as there's the ability to say, I'm doing a task, did it work? If it didn't work, what went wrong? And then feedback to the orchestrator or LLM to fix that and only move to the next step once that task is fixed. That's the heart of basically any agentic system. And by calling it a boomerang, that's exactly what's happening. If you're just giving it a less nerdy description of a recursive feedback loop.
What we're going to go for is something that's clear and doesn't lose the process internally. It's Boomerang, but the specific mode we're adding isn't isn't going to be called Boomerang, because we want people to be clear if they when we're trying to balance the out of the box versus the docked deep diver. Um, we do want people to be able to pick up the software and get some access to it and the cool features without having to read a book.
Yeah. You what? You boomerang for dummies? No, it's like, so yeah. My last comment, just one last comment. Well, since I have you here and I can give you all my ideas. What when I saw your PR for the sort of potential addition of the primary what you're not calling boomerang mode. right now, to make the subtasks efficiently work across multiple non-thinking LLMs, you have to be explicit in how the subtasks are created using the new underscore task. And I forgot what the completion task is, like the assign completion or whatever. So make sure you include that as part of the actual prompt that is being fed. Otherwise, you're going to have to be explicit for things like Gemini and lesser capable GPT models.
We are probably going to release it as the one on the docs page, and then you can make a PR and tweak it. I'm gonna throw it back at you, Uno reverse, because you've probably played with the exact wording that works best for that process and tweaking it a little bit. Right now it's working, people are using it, and so we'll put that one out there and then we'll tweak it tomorrow for all that
Yeah,
matters. We
exactly.
are really interested in using evals to try to measure which works better, though. That is, we're trying to apply evals to these sort of unique tools instead of just can it solve a coding problem.
Smart. No, you guys are doing. I'm a big fan. I think that you guys are doing everything right. Check out Open Evals. That was actually going to be one of my
Okay.
demos today, but there's not enough time to do everything. Open Evals is amazing. It uses the open telemetry approach as well. If you're doing any kind of deep agentic engineering, you have to have an evaluation framework. Otherwise, you're just vibe coding, right?
Yeah.
So the absence of an eval is the absence of engineering. All
Makes
right.
sense.
Well, really appreciate it. And if we have time, maybe I'll jump in and show you guys a bit more of the stuff that I was building in there. Who else we got on the agenda today, Rob?
Fantastic. Thank you, Hannes.